So I got this new mount. So this is actually my older mount. This is the newer mount that has like 3 mounting points on the car. So it's a little bit more stable. Hopefully you guys noticed that on my drives. There's 3 mounting spots with suction cups to the roof, if you're wondering how I mount this camera. And then this is my old mount that has only 2 mounting spots, but I'm gonna use it in the front now for kind of these like talking shots. So it's a little bit more stable than me kind of holding the camera. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're actually gonna go from Los Angeles down to San Diego and right back up. It's about 100 miles, give or take, about 110 miles down and another 110 miles up. But in this video, I just have the newest update. Unfortunately, it's not the new full self-driving beta rewrite Elon's release version, but it is the 2020.44.1, which has a couple different enhancements and fixes like Spotify and media search changes, which we'll go through in this video. But we're gonna see how Autopilot does with this newest update, not the full self-driving rewrite that I've paid the thousands of dollars for and I haven't gotten yet, but the newest version of Autopilot full self-driving beta package that isn't the rewrite. So hopefully there's not gonna be too much traffic on the way down, but this is Los Angeles. So let's get into the video. All right, so we're on the road now. Hopefully there will not be too much traffic in Los Angeles on the way out of Los Angeles. Most likely people come in to the city, I imagine, so all the traffic should be inwards. Of course, there's always bright sun, but it has been cloudy these days because it's winter time. But today, of course, on our drive, it's going to be bright as sun directly at us. Just cleaned the windshield, but I can still see some streaks. So of course I didn't do a great job, but we just got into the highway. We're gonna get into this lane and then we'll throw it into Autopilot. We got into the lane. Cheers everyone, I got my coffee. Hopefully you guys can see clearly. This is a new lens. It's a 20mm lens for people that know photography. Again, in terms of what version this is 2020.44.10.1. This is not the new full self-baiting rewrite, even though I'm not sure, and I haven't really found a definitive answer yet, but if the full self-driving rewrite has a different UI or visualization screen on the highway. I know it does on local roads. It changes like all those like Christmas lights or squiggly lights, like whatever, changes to those squiggly lines on the local roads. But a couple of videos that I watched, when the driver got onto the highway, it just changed the normal, usual Autopilot UI navigation screen, UI visualization screen. But in terms of the conditions out here, super sunny, 58 degrees, pretty cold in terms of like LA temperature, but of course, clear skies and direct sun pointing directly at the Tesla vehicle. So we're going about 61 miles an hour. I'm going to increase the speed to 70. And these cars are going pretty quickly, so we should get to San Diego pretty okay. A little bit of braking there, a little bit of late braking there, I would say. That van was signaling for a little bit, and then it finally started to nudge into our lane, and that's when Tesla started to brake a little bit. But if that van didn't go into our lane at all, Tesla would have just gone gung-ho, accelerated so that the van wouldn't have been able to get into our lane. A little bit of braking here. Tesla wants me to get into the right lane, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the auto lane change. Perfect there. Decreasing speeds about 54 miles an hour. Cruise control setting is still set to 70. Thanks for watching another video, guys. If you're new here, my name is Dennis. I picked up this Tesla Model 3 about a year ago, and I make videos about my experience. So if you're interested in any of that, please hit that subscribe. And we're heading into this section of the I-5 South that gets really, really gnarly because the sun just hits the car directly in the front. And this is where Tesla starts to really start to make some glitches, because not only does the sun hit the car from the front directly, it also hits the highway. You can kind of see how this highway has like a more shiny, maybe it's like a reflective coating so that it doesn't get too hot, but it kind of reflects back up and it's almost white, like just like the lines of the highway. So you can't really see the difference between the lines on the highway and the road. Going about 68 miles an hour on a 70-mile-an-hour cruise control. Ooh, okay, so a little bit of jerking to the right there. I guess Tesla's really trying to figure out either what these lanes are or where the lanes are so it can stay in the middle, but it also wants to get into the left lane. So let's go ahead and hit that lane trigger. A little hesitant there. It kind of went in to the left and then jerked back, but then now it's perfectly into the lane. Going about 70 miles an hour on a cruise control of setting 70. So I'm going to increase that to about 75 because it looks like there's not going to be any traffic coming up, and it looks pretty wide open actually. I guess it's too early for the kind of the LA traffic, so I'm going to go ahead and get into the left lane or the all the way left lane so that hopefully it's going to be as open as possible. You can see on the other side there is a lot of cars coming into LA, so that's really where the traffic is, not so much on these cars on our direction going out. I just hit 17,000 miles on my Tesla Model 3, or actually 17,200 in a little bit over a year. I got it August of 2019. Right now it's November of 2019. So yeah, definitely a good amount of miles. It would have been more unless if there wasn't this pandemic. I was doing about 2,000 miles a year and really putting this Tesla Model 3 to the test in terms of like durability and maintenance and things like that. But in terms of maintenance, I haven't really spent too much. All I've spent is $20 rotations. I know you can get it done for free at probably like America's Tire, but I pay someone I trust $20 each time. And I've done it every about 5,000 to 6,000 miles. So I just did one at 17,000 miles. But they did tell me that my tires are getting near the end. They said it was about 4 millimeters, which is I think about like 5 30-seconds. You can go down to like 3 30-seconds. And so I probably have another like 5,000 to maybe 10,000 miles, which would put it about 25 to 27,000 miles total mileage on my tires. I was really hoping to try and get like 40, maybe even 30 to 40,000 miles on these 18-inch rims, but it sounds like I'm not going to be able to get there, probably because I churled it a couple times. And when you churl this car and it's a performance, people just want to hammer it and really test that performance. That's probably what reduced my tire life, unfortunately. All right, so I hit the auto lane change to the left pretty smoothly, and it's fine. Reducing speed, or it looks like we've reduced speed to about 60 miles an hour. Autopilot once again to the left lane there, but there is a car in that lane, so we can't necessarily make that auto lane change just yet. But behind that, it's pretty clear, so this is one thing where, like, do I get into the lane? Because even though I see there's a car there, there's no point, but it looks like the autopilot, no, actually it looks like autopilot wants to get into that lane again, so let's appease the autopilot system. All right, so we're cruising along pretty nicely here. There's actually hasn't really been too much traffic, just following along these cars, going about probably 60 to 70 miles an hour. Hopefully we can get to San Diego on time. We did leave it with about 77% of the battery, and we should arrive about 29% of the battery. Wow. So that should give us, 29% should give us about 90 miles of range, so that we will be able to get to the supercharger, supercharge up, and then be on our way back. All right, so we're slowing down a little bit here. There looks like to be some traffic going from 60 to 50 to 40 miles an hour. It doesn't look like it's too much heavy traffic, but we are slowing down to some of these cars up here. Autopilot wants to get into the right lane because it thinks it's faster, but we're just gonna stay in this lane because it makes more sense. Braking a little bit here, slowing down to about 33 miles an hour. Looks like just to be some light traffic, not necessarily any bumper-to-bumper traffic, but so yeah, it looks like there's actually a couple of nice features with this newest update, the 2020.44. Looks like they added some voice command language, so we'll have to go to that app that's recommended. I did make a video about voice commands, and this app I found that you can go through a bunch of them, so check out the video on my channel. Looks like we can toggle media sources that we don't use, which is actually really great because I don't use the Tesla streaming that's provided by Slacker Radio, I believe. I also don't use the tune-in, so I could probably turn those off. Karaoke I don't really use at all. It's more of like a party trick, but I mean, I'll leave it so I can access that party trick pretty quickly. Media search improvements so that we can find things easier using this button on the media, which is pretty nice. And this is probably a big one, Spotify improvements. Looks like we can access our playlists and podcasts with Spotify, which is really good because I haven't been able to find podcasts easily using the Spotify app that's native within the Tesla system. So I've been using my phone to play podcasts instead using the Apple app. So that's pretty good that they've had it integrated within the Spotify system. And lastly, this is an interesting one with Autopilot set speed. It looks like when you engage on Autopilot, you can have two different choices. And it looks like within Autopilot, you can actually set two different speeds that you want to go to. You can either go the speed of the speed limit that's on the road, and Autopilot can try and figure out what that is, or you can set it to current speed, in which whatever speed you're going at, it's just going to go that speed, and it won't adjust based on any GPS or signs or roads, which is actually, I think I like that better, because there has been times where I'm driving on the highway and Autopilot thinks it's on local roads and it'll start to brake really heavily, because it's really because of the construction that's being done on the highways in California. It like glitches out and thinks that it's on local roads instead. So I'm going to change it to current speed and not the speed limit on whatever roads it thinks we're on. Increasing speed to 75 miles an hour. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and increase it to not 80 because I don't want to deplete the battery too much. Whoa, okay, Autopilot just glitched out a little bit there. And I can see why, actually. There's some old markings on the road, or some weird markings on the road that were going to the right there. And because of this sun coming in directly in front of us, it just couldn't figure out what was going on there. So I'm going to try and save that. Can I save it? So I saved the dash cam footage, so hopefully I'm going to try and overlay that on that section of the road there. But yeah, it was basically following the lanes to the right instead of the lanes that were going to the left, and it just glitched out and jolted to the right. All right, so we're coming up on our construction area, our favorite construction area of this drive that Autopilot just tends to always glitch, or most of the time glitch, because of the old lane markings of the road. It just can't figure out where it's going. So let's see how this new update handles construction area number 1. All right, so first we're going to the left here. You can see some of those lines are going to the right. Autopilot is trying to figure out where these lines are going. So it's getting pretty close to that car on our right hand there. You can see some of the concrete barriers on our left. I'm just gonna hover my hands above the steering wheel just in case it starts to glitch. But you can see there's some really ingrained lane markings on the right there. So Autopilot is just slowly, okay, that was perfect right there. Good thing I had my hands on the steering wheel, but Autopilot did not like that area. It was gonna go straight for that concrete barrier. So definitely a reminder that Autopilot is still in beta and that you really need to monitor and really take over when you can, because Autopilot will really glitch there. So that's really 2 times that Autopilot has glitched on this road pretty severely, actually. Just kind of threw it out of whack and just sent the car into a path of destruction, I would say. But here's another one where it's trying to figure out, okay, so you can see the lanes where that really old lane went to the right there, but it kind of stayed in this lane pretty well. Looks like we are going to be out of this area with just that one really fault hitting it out of that lane. That one area where it just hit it out of the lane completely. So now Autopilot is just confused. So this is where I was talking about where it might think you're on local roads at some point, and then it might reduce your speed drastically. But we know we're on the highway, so we're just going to stay in this lane before it turns back onto navigate on Autopilot. Okay, so a little bit rough there, but we're out of that construction area, so hopefully it's going to be smooth sailing with Autopilot on the rest of the trip. All right, so we're going about 78 miles an hour. Pretty smooth sailing. Hopefully there won't be too much traffic after this, but pretty eventful drive. 2 areas where the Autopilot system kind of screwed up there. But the good thing was no traffic, and of course the great thing was we were monitoring the car, so we were able to correct it and fix it before we... But that's probably what happened with those other accidents. You're really not supposed to use Autopilot in construction areas, or if you do, you're really supposed to monitor it a lot, because it will make those mistakes, because it's not necessarily Autopilot's fault. It's because it's trying to read the lane markings that are already pretty crappy, so to speak, on the roads in construction areas. So it's just trying to read where it can and kind of trying to navigate where it can, but it will make mistakes in construction areas. On these other roads where it's clear as day and the markings are pretty clear, it's not going to necessarily make any mistakes. On these open roads where the lane markings are a lot more clear, it tends to make a lot less mistakes. It'll keep you in the lane and on the road safely. All right, so there's probably not going to be any more traffic on the way down, so this is where I'm going to go ahead and end it, guys. Thanks for watching this video, and please hit that like if you enjoyed it, and comment below on your experience, on your thoughts on that one area, what you think happened with that construction area, why you think it wanted to go directly into that concrete barrier up ahead. Most likely it was able to see that concrete barrier, so maybe it thought like the lane was going to end or something, but it was definitely a very interesting and good thing I was monitoring it, because that could have been the end of this whole entire thing. More pretty injured. But thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.